Come on with it, baby!
All right, and welcome into another edition of the Third Manageable Podcast. I am your host, Matt Diegert, and this gentleman right here is Student Body Right.
What's going on?
Twitter. You can find us both on there. You can see those on our overlays at Matt Diegert, at Student Body Right, and there's no I in Student Body Right.
There's no I in podcast.
So real quickly, we have to pay the bills here real quickly, but so with that being said, one of our great sponsors is BetUS. Listen up, sports bettors. Your favorite sports book, BetUS.com, is back for our 30th year of sports action with the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of 125%. BetUS offers the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including live action and the chance to build your own prop. That's right. If you're looking for live in-game betting, incredible props, daily odds boosters, a top-tiered race book, and an unbeatable casino experience, look no further. We've got it all. What about fast payouts and exceptional one-on-one customer service? We've got that too. Sign up now to BetUS.com by clicking the link in our description or using code DUE, D-U-E, to get the greatest sign-up bonuses. Our account managers are available 24/7 to help you get started on the best action at 1-800-792-3887. That is 1-800-79-BET-US. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. Now, you'll probably hear that again throughout the show, but our other sponsors, real quickly, is Hamburg Brewing, Beauty Pools, and
Sons of Erie,
yeah.
Kayak Pools,
we got a
Fat
lot
Boy
of them.
Surf Club.
We got a lot of them, and Student Body Right with our last one.
What is it?
Ilios.
Oh, yeah, Iliodopalos. Go there. All right.
So, without further ado, we do have one of the best guys that covers the Bills, Ryan Talbot, on the show. We're going to bring him up here in a second, but real quickly, just wanted to thank him for coming on the show. Everything he does within the Bills community is great. Anything him and Matt Perino do with the Shout Podcast is amazing. Definitely check them out. I know.
Yeah. Did you hear the operative word you use?
What's that?
And I love community. Those two keep it moving.
Absolutely.
They engage with the fans. They're only a tweet away, for better or worse. But community, I like that you use that word because, man, thanks for welcoming us in, and we feel more a part of it with such an esteemed guest. So, without further ado, I think.
Absolutely. We just had to get some camera stuff set up there. And Ryan, thank you for hopping on with us. I know it was kind of a short delay because we only talked on Wednesday, but definitely welcome to the show. Welcome to Third Manageable. Welcome to Do Champions. Thank you so much for hopping on with us.
Hey, thanks for inviting me. This is going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to it quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the Bills season coming up, there's nothing better than this time of year. Fall, get to see the leaves change, everything like that, and you get to see the pigskin being thrown.
Yeah, football season, as much as I love summer and everything that comes with it, football season is a special time of the year. College football taking up your entire day on Saturdays, and then obviously the pros on Sundays. So cannot wait for that, especially with the NFL season kicking off next week.
Right, not to get a little too personal, but how important is it that your family and your ecosystem get that this is the path you chose and you love it and you're damn good at it? What's that support system kind of mean to you?
I mean, it means the world to me because I have a very patient wife. I have kids that understand that just this past week when it's the roster cut down day and it's the practice squad day. I'm sitting here, I'm on my phone, I have my laptop set up, I have our Text Insider line open, so I'm trying to write things up as soon as I'm hearing things, as soon as I can report it. It's a interesting time. I don't want to use the word fun because as much as I enjoy sharing the news with fans, it's never fun to find out a player was waived or released. It is fun when you find out that guys like Joe Andreessen have made the 53-man roster, but
I'm wearing egg on my face. I really am.
So, it's just one of those things where there's good and bad that come with it. But I have a ecosystem here that's pretty patient with me, understanding that certain days I'm kind of away from everything other than just the Bills and football in general.
Now, Ron, let me ask you a question about kind of where you see this Bills thing, especially with the advent of Twitter. Do you ever feel like there's a rush to be first rather than factual, especially like a platform of Twitter where it's not formal long print?
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% correct. So, it's a lot of people want to be right, and you want to be right first to get the credit. But the one thing I'll say is I make sure before I put anything out there that it's a go. It's going to happen. I will be the first to say, though, things happen sometimes. You look at Lewis Seen, who joined the Bills practice squad yesterday. He had originally committed to the Jets, so a few national media members reported that. They weren't wrong, but then Seen had a change of heart, and he joined the Bills. So things like that do happen. You have those moments where you are told you have the green light on something, and then something changes, and you start sweating it out because you don't want it to affect your credibility, even though what you had previously reported was not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of ran into that a little bit with Virgil, didn't you?
Yeah, we ran into it with Gable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we had it on good authority that he was. We got Alec was inked in, we got RVD was inked in, and we got on good authority and it just, the game's dynamic, not static, and with positionary moves, nothing's locked in, but.
Yeah, that definitely happened yesterday. You hear some moves happening, and then something midday occurred, and it sounded like there was some outside interest outside of Buffalo, and they were kind of probably weighing the options there, but he ultimately ended up choosing the Bills after all. So what was initially,
I was worried that Harrison was going to get his ear, and with the wrestling background.
Yeah, right.
Shout out to Harrison Phillips.
So definitely happy that kind of worked out in the end.
No, absolutely, and I mean, I saw that a couple different times from yourself on there, because you're truly one of the best follows on Twitter for news, for practice squad, for any Bills stuff in general, and like I kept seeing it pop back up, and I'm checking the timestamp on it just to make sure that before we tweet it out, because that's kind of what we want. We want to be more correct than we do, first to it, because
right.
If we're not the reporters, we're not somebody like you or Matt Perino or Vic Carucci or anybody like that. We're literally just trying to bring that stuff and bring our knowledge to the game.
Bring our brand,
yeah.
So speaking of that, bringing things together. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean
to. No, I was just gonna say no. I mean, it sounds like you guys have the right methodology to this in terms of, as great as it is to be first on things when they're right. It's a fine line where if you're first and it's wrong, there's a lot of backlash, especially on social media platforms like Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it.
What was your kind of first engagement with? Do I compromise the relationship because I know this to be true versus kind of, I guess the standards of journalism? Like, what was your kind of first test without naming names of just a tough one? Like,
actually,
was it early?
I don't want to.
Was it mid or no? Don't say names, but yeah.
No, I don't know if I've ever compromised that because I don't want to burn a bridge. There have been times where I've had things where I was kind of told to hold off and not report it. And whether it was someone else that maybe got the information through a different party, through
someone's going to get it.
Someone's going to get it, and someone got it first. And there's times where I've, texted Matt Perino. I've been like, man, I've been sitting on this all day because he'll know I'll text him about it, but it's not something I put out on social media because, you want to respect those relationships because whether you're talking about a guy that's on this practice squad, whether it's a guy that maybe doesn't have a great shot at making this roster, that agent's going to have another 10, 15 players maybe by the time their career is done that come through Buffalo, whether it's free agency, the draft, what have you, and you want to always have a positive relationship. So, I've never come into a situation where a scoop was bigger than that relationship. And if I ever do, I still think I would, I would toe the line until I knew I could report it because I don't want to ever burn that bridge.
How important is Matt as a vetting system? Just bouncing stuff off. Like, what do you
Oh,
think?
huge. I mean, you guys.
I wish Matt would have vetted the shirt. I'm seeing it in full color. Thanks, dude.
I think it looks. I'm wearing a Cane's restaurant shirt, so I mean, I'm not exactly
named after his dog.
Right. Yeah. So not exactly like the model of style over here, which is Reno is.
Well, Jersey Mike's the guy who runs it. His name's Pete.
Yeah, I know, right? Right. Bizarre. But Matt, I bounce things off all the time. You guys said so many nice things about the Shout podcast. That's truly his baby. I mean, he came from the UFC over to the Bills beat. He was in the UFC. He covered the UFC. I don't want to say it was about a decade, I believe. His job was, he would interview Dana White every week, do a video on that. He'd interview fighters. He'd go to all the fights. Did a lot of fun, really cool traveling with that.
Talk about a volatile landscape.
Right.
Fighters, Dana White.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But he's a Buffalo guy. His wife's from Buffalo, and eventually wanted to move back. The opportunity came, and he said, I think podcasts are kind of where this is trending. And I'm like, well, I don't know much about podcasts, but I'm more than willing to learn on the fly. And it has really paid off for us. We do a lot of shows throughout the week. We do live shows. We have a live show tomorrow at Wingnuts. Yeah, excited about that. So
yeah, we try and do one once or twice a month at Ilio's. So we completely understand the rigors of trying to get that down right. Now, you touched on that a little bit as far as like how he, started the Shout podcast and stuff like that. Why don't you tell us, a little bit about, yourself and your story and how you got into everything with the Bills?
It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I have the most, I can't say the most, but I have a very bizarre path to covering this team. I'm a teacher by day. I'm an educator by day. I'm going into my 19th year as an educator. I got right out of college. I landed a job teaching, still do it, still love it. So from football season until late June, I am a teacher, up until about 3:00. And then I kind of become a Bills beat reporter from about 3:05 on until the end of the night, weekends. It does hinder my travel, obviously. I don't do most of the road games where Matt goes to every single game. I cover a lot of the home games, though. Prime time, I generally just cover it from home now because, a primetime game might end at 11 p.m., but we don't usually get out of the stadium in those cases until about 2 a.m. And then you throw in another hour and a half drive home, and I'd be very tired for that teaching job the next day. But
and where do you teach?
Olean, New York. Yeah, so near St. Bonaventure, which is where I went to college.
I know exactly where it is. I went to Springville myself.
Okay.
And
very cool.
we played Olean a few times
awesome.
When I was there.
That is awesome. But yeah, so this actually started out as a hobby. It was something where there was a site called QueenCitySports.net, and Mike Straw, and shout out to Mike. He said, "I'm looking for someone to cover the Bills." I sent him a mock draft. It was around draft season. He said, "Great, you're in." I was a Bills fan growing up. Every Sunday or Monday, whenever they played, we were watching it as a family in the house. Pizza, wings, all that good stuff. So I knew this team very well. And then from there, it went to Bleacher Report before they were hiring, these big name guys. It was like this badge system where if you were the most read Bills writer, you got this little emoji badge. And when I was starting out, I thought that was the coolest thing. And because, again, it was more fun than anything else at that point. So I went from there. Bills Mafia. I had literally a cup of coffee with Pro Football Focus. Because another opportunity came along after I did about one article with them. It was their fantasy football division. It was not something I was as passionate about. But eventually,
my time in Building Buffalo. Just kidding.
But from there, it was just kind of these different opportunities. I became the editor-in-chief of BillsMafia.com, and that was cool because then I was editing other people's work, and I was sending out loose schedules of like, all right, Thursday, this is the day that you generally produce something, whatever it may be, and that kind of helped me out. Great site was BuffaloBillsDraft.com. I worked with Joe Marino there, and obviously we know all the good that Joe has done. The person that was running the site, that was our editor-in-chief, is now on the beat with, I believe it's Ohio State right now. So he's done great things for himself. That was cool. Then it was Scout.com after they bought the entity back from Fox Sports. And once I left Scout, I went over to Syracuse.com and NY Up, and I've been there since 2016.
Awesome. Well, I want to touch on.
Wait. How did you just go awesome? That's crazy.
It definitely is. I mean, it's like for him to go through all of that and, come out with the Shout podcast and everything like that, and still teaching and everything else. I mean, it sounds like us. We're doing.
He doesn't talk to me like this. He's like, just get the cameras fixed.
We're burning, candles at both ends, and at some point you want it to.
Wicks.
Yeah, whatever. Correct me.
Well, he touched on Bonnie's. I got a question for you, Ryan.
Yeah.
Gun to the head. What's more iconic, those brown uniforms or Burton?
The Burton. I love the Burton burgers. I love everything.
What is the Ohio State? The Burton? Chill, dude. They make burgers.
I know. I love the Burton and the OP growing up, and I loved everything about my time at Bonna's. But that is such a classic spot. I still get friends that come back and visit, go to games, and like, hey, let's go to the Burton beforehand. I do love some of these uniforms that the Bonnies roll out, the retro ones. And they're kind of coming back with those fonts all over again, which is cool. And
do you think we're going to get the extra long shorts again?
I don't know. That was when they looked extra long on Marquise Green. This guy was like 5'7", and they went down to his shoes the way he wore them.
And he's wearing N1s.
And he was wearing N1s.
This is the professor's brother.
Yeah. So he was recently put into like the Athletic Hall of Fame or something a year or two ago too, which was kind of a cool story. That was a terrible Bonnie's teams, but he was fun to watch.
Yeah,
a little school Nolan though, 8'10".
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as speaking of the Bonnies, I want to give a shout out real quick. I don't think he's watching or anything like that, but my young cousin is actually playing baseball for the Bonaventure for Bonnies.
Oh, that's awesome.
St. Bonaventure. So definitely, I hope they have a great season. When they start up and everything like that. So definitely have to catch a couple games this year for him. And
that gym is just it reminds me it reminds me like kind of like Penn. So I played at Monmouth with like Chris Hogan and like Miles Austin, all those dudes. I played football there, and we had a proper like one-sided bleacher gym, and then we got this massive complex, and I was just like, you lose kind of that intimacy of like, hey, we're mid-major, I'm a mid-major guy,
right,
but how much does it mean that like you have something to root for? Like when I feel like when some people go to some schools, and you go to different schools for obviously academics and stuff like that, but like you have a team that's going to be on ESPN. You have a team that's going to be talked about regionally. You have robust rivalries with Niagara, Canisius, UB. How proud is this alum to just it's easy to be ingratiated in the team because you're prideful and it means a lot to the community you still live in.
Absolutely. I love it. I love going to as many games as I can, bringing my kids to the games now. And it's still very loud. It's still a very rowdy atmosphere. But when I was there, the student section went right to the floor. It's changed a little bit in previous regimes which I get. They put in some seating. They were trying to get some extra money. It's tough for the Bonnies to compete with everything nowadays with the way that these bigger schools can offer funding to these players. So I get it. I understand it. So it's a little bit different, but it is still such a great atmosphere to go to and watch these games and the rivalries, the Little Four. You can talk about some of these other A-10 teams whenever VCU comes to town.
Was Richmond, right?
Yep. Yeah, Richmond Spiders.
Only Division I team named the Spiders.
Yeah. So, there's some great teams that come out and come through. And, when I was growing up before I went to Bonaventure, every time that Temple came, that was a big deal. And there was a period of time where Syracuse would come, and it was many, many years ago. Someone threw something at Jim Boeheim, and at that point he said, I'm never coming back here again. And he stayed true to his word on that. And every time that they didn't match up was either at a neutral site or generally at Syracuse.
Well, I missed my big moment due to COVID. Monmouth was going to play Rutgers.
Oh.
And Monmouth comes from the Colonial, Delaware, Maine and all that stuff. So that was a big moment for me. And then, the vid got a lot of people.
It did.
Not to be disrespectful, but they got that Jersey rivalry right out, just ripped out of me.
Oh.
Stinks.
It does. It absolutely does when things like that happen.
I'm like actually sad. But we just got our ass kicked last night by Eastern Washington. Be a shame if you bet the money line.
Sorry to hear that. Very sorry to hear that.
So, big question. When did you and Matt, that guys making friendships and stuff like that? As you get older, it's like, sometimes you feel like, it's my bar buddy, it's my football buddy and stuff like that. When did you realize that was going to be create good in your life and create good for this Bills community? When did you tether that together?
We hit it off immediately. And once he was a finalist for the position, we had already followed each other. He was following me for my Bills work. I was following him for the UFC. And then he told me he was a finalist. And from that point on, once he was hired, we started doing these live shows. We started doing the podcast. I always joke that besides my wife, the person I text the most by far is Matt. We probably talk every single day, at least one text message back and forth. And I've worked with a lot of great people. I have formed friendships, but this is legitimately someone that I consider one of my best friends. So it's a lot more than just, covering this team together. We really do. Our personalities mesh so well together.
And also the dichotomy of the hairstyle too.
Yeah, much different.
Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. I'm crown balding under this bison cap, but he has some of the most manicured, just a good looking dude. And I saw, because we're on a little bit of a weight loss journey here. He lost a boatload of weight. What was it, about 6 or 7 years ago?
Yeah. His wife
for him.
recently posted something about that, and he's kept it off. I've definitely been on that roller coaster throughout my life where
caloric conservation, baby.
Oh yeah, so ups and downs, and I definitely need to get some more downs here in my future. But yeah, he's kept it off. He's done a great job. The hair is immaculate, always on point. Never a bad hair day there for Matt Perino.
Oh, and Matt Milano.
That you see. that you see. Let's just put it that way. That you see.
But we can't keep the questions at bay. Question for Ryan. Of all the games Ryan has attended, which one's been the most memorable?
It's a great question. I guess I would say, I'm going to give a few different answers. Memorable in terms of
no, take it.
Memorable in terms of the experience, in the game itself, the weekend itself. The New Orleans Thanksgiving Day game was a blast. I'd never been to New Orleans before. We got to do a lot of really cool things. We went out, a few nights. It was just such a unique place that I got to experience there with Matt, with this job. I loved that a lot. Last year, getting to go to London. If you would have told me years ago that covering this team, I'd get to go to London and cover a game and be there for about a week, I never would have believed that. So, I did. I went to Richmond on the last day that I was there. I went to, May's Bar from Ted Lasso. I went to Ted Lasso's apartment. I did all that. But then we covered a game. We went on a tour of the stadium the week of, where we got to see a lot of what this new stadium in Orchard Park is modeled after. And we learned a lot about that. The first day that we were there, we didn't want to get jet lagged. So we went and saw a show. We went and did all these other things. It was just such a surreal week where, both of my jobs, my school gave me let me change some sick days to personal days to be able to go and do that. Shout out to them. And the company sending both of us to London for a week was pretty cool as well.
So I want to ask you something real quickly about the London, because you got to see it firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get to see them laying down the actual turf over top of the grass field?
So when we went and toured the stadium, which was a few days before the game, it was not down yet, and they showed us how it slid out from the walls, and they explained it to us. They showed us these little pellets that were supposed to help prevent these injuries. They weren't even pellets. They were more like a spongy green material. And I thought, oh, that's really cool. That's forward thinking. And then, of course, you know, you have the Milano injury. You have the Daquan Jones.
Jones injury.
Yeah, which wasn't the turf on that one. That was, you know, the pec. But I'm like, wow, that definitely stunk at the end of the day when you lose Milano to such a terrible injury at that time. You know, the Bills were very secretive after it, which maybe secretive is not the right word. I don't think they knew what the timeline was going to be on that injury because it was something they had never seen before. And you don't know how much of that field played a part of it. Maybe it was just fate. It would have happened no matter where it took place. But no, they showed us though how it would roll out. They explained it very well to us. It was a great experience to go and tour that ahead of time.
Well, I mean, because that's kind of my point that I was getting to is, you know, we hear it all the time from players on this side of the pond and everything like
Bud
that.
Carpenter,
Bud
Fischetti,
Carpenter, you know, let's switch to grass. Let's keep the turf. Let's do whatever. Then we see injuries last year like the Milano injury, and you know you see other injuries throughout history. Von Miller in Detroit and everything like that, and they basically rolled out a piece of concrete for them to play on that, you know, over top of the grass.
Yeah. You know, and they said it wouldn't feel that way, but Bills players after the game, they were saying it was, you know, it was not did not feel good when you were tackled and went down. And it didn't align with what we were told leading up to the game of what that field would feel like or experience. And, which was a shame because I liked that the explanations that we were given. I am definitely more of the grass component in terms of what I'd like to see the Bills and every team play on. You look at MetLife Stadium and the Jets and the Giants and all the injuries that take place on that field.
My God,
like
it feels black
every single year. It feels like there's these terrible injuries that take place. But no,
it isn't an immanageable amount of wear on that. I mean, look at a primetime game. That field looks black because you have the rototilt going in there, ripping up the safe play pellets. I mean, it's just. So I lived in New York City for 12 years, and it was just. It's a bad stadium.
It is
net. You know, you got Legends, Legends Catering and all that other stuff. Oh, what is going on? Do we got everybody?
I don't know. I mean, it's on you. Like you're frozen. I don't know why, but no.
Frozen in time like the Meadowlands.
So let's see if we can't fix that.
Am I frozen?
Quickly.
Oh, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, you're the one frozen. So, anyways, while he's fixing
this is a setup.
While he's fixing that, Ryan, real quickly, I just wanted to kind of, I wanted to touch on that poster behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Talk to me about Michael Scarn.
Yeah, doing the Scarn. It's one of my favorite episodes of The Office, just because the way they built it up and the long-term storytelling, where they find the script to it seasons beforehand, and they read it in the office, and then later in the show they actually have a whole episode devoted to it. So my wife knows that I love The Office, one of my all-time favorite shows. She got it for a gift for me one year, and I put it up there. And what's funny is probably like 6 months ago or so, I said, I'm going to probably take it down. I'm going to put something else up there. I have like this Shout poster I'm going to put up, and Bills fans are like, don't you dare take that Threat Level Midnight down. They, it's kind of become like a staple of the background. They love that. I have a lot of little neat things. I have my own little Funko Pop that, again, this was like a Christmas gift from my wife. That's pretty cool. I have a Loki figure back here. Behind me, the credentials and everything. I have some Office Funko Pops, some WWF action figures from back in my day.
Oh, you're gonna like this. We got a big one coming on soon.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
The Diamond Cutter.
Oh,
DDP.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's some stipulations.
Yeah, we got to do do DDP yoga.
Yeah,
unfortunately, we're not going to talk about that.
I almost tried that out a few years ago.
Oh,
I mean,
have you watched like the whole like robust like? I mean, it's real.
Yeah,
I mean, he
so
helped,
many
he helped
stories
Jake the
of
Snake. He
guys.
helped Razor Ramon. Yeah, it's man,
Yeah.
it is batty.
It's wild.
But let me just ask real quick, the light bills, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Of the season, stuff like that. You've covered a lot of different scenarios. You I think you were an active fan. Basically when when the team wasn't guaranteed to be on TV. I mean, Russ Salvatore had to buy the extra tickets.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, man. You've seen a lot of different things. What is consistently the peak in the pit of your season? Do you get in the dorm rooms? Like, are you having the turkey sandwiches in the dining hall during training camp, or is it just the anxiety of do you harbor? You're waiting for the other shoe to drop, just based on past performance, is sometimes indicative of future results. Like, personally, what is the peak in the pit for you?
I don't stay on campus like Matt does, and he's there every day, dorm room life, all that. I usually come up on the weekends. I'm a glutton for punishment. I also do summer school in the summertime, so I'm teaching that Monday through Thursday. I'm doing, training camp on generally Fridays and Sundays, doing a lot of different things with that. So I do get to experience all that, the cafeteria, the turkey burgers, all that. That's cool. In terms of where this team is now, there's a lot of fans going into this season. There's still some that are very high in this team. There are some that are a little bit lower. This is nowhere close to those drought teams that I covered. Some of the drought teams that I was a fan of when I was still, wearing that active fan cap for this team. As long as there's Josh Allen on this roster, a prime Josh Allen, this team is going to be in the mix to win the AFC East, in the mix to win a Super Bowl. For the Tom Brady era, for every Super Bowl that he won, there was the Peyton Manning that was able to win a few, the Ben Roethlisberger that was able to win a few, guys that were still able to kind of come through. And with Patrick Mahomes being kind of the Tom Brady of this generation, the guy that can the Bills ever get past this guy? It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when, because the Bills and Allen have been good enough to do it a few times in the playoffs.
So, real quickly, you brought up the drought era. Which one was your favorite drought era team? You can't. You can't. No. I just
what was your
ask.
favorite low point in your life?
And I just
was it when your first dog died?
I just want to ask.
Was that a good time?
Because there's a lot of teams in there, and you can't count 2017 because there's not technically a drought era team,
right?
Because thank you to the Bengals, thank you to Tyler Boyd and Andy Dalton, but like mine was probably like that cold front era team when you had in 2014, I think it was, with the Doug Marrone, Kyle Williams, Marcel Darius, Mario Williams, Jerry Hughes, when they combined in that defensive line for almost 50 sacks themselves.
That was a great squad. I mean, I could go back to the Drew Bledsoe years. That offense was so fun to watch. They started out really slow that year, but then you had Moulds and Peerless Price, and the defense came on, and you really saw what – you saw what should have been a playoff team. Yeah. And, of course, in typical back then fashion, everything falls their way in the final week. All they have to do is defeat the Steelers' backups, and it just doesn't happen. I really thought that team, had they gotten into the playoffs, could have gone on a run. I loved watching J.P. Lossman, believe it or not. The arm that guy had was unreal. I feel like the injuries that took place never helped him. I would have loved to have seen the way that the Bills were able to develop and help Josh Allen, the way that Jordan Palmer was able to help Josh Allen. I wish there would have been a Palmer back then for a guy like Lossman, who had all the intangibles, who had the $1 million arm.
You really believe that?
Oh yeah, I thought he had all the.
Wasn't he like Clemson QB coach, and people were kind of like kicking his tires? Wasn't this like 2000? Like not too. It was a teen, right? J.P. Lawson was a QB coach. He was throwing for a pro day because there was a mishap.
Oh, and he was and he was nailing all the throws. Yeah, Doesn't shock me.
I'm sure it was Mark Davis.
The arm talent was never the issue. I think there was the mental makeup. I think that there's a lot that just goes into being a quarterback in this league and being a successful quarterback, because I've seen a lot of guys come and go in this league, not just on the Bills, but in general, where you look and you say that guy should have been a really good quarterback. And sometimes it's other factors. I look at David Carr in Houston. They never should have drafted him first overall because they didn't have an offensive line.
Immense amount of pressure, too.
Yeah, immense amount of pressure. A franchise team, a new franchise, that is, and they didn't have an O-line that could protect him, and it ruined him at that point.
Well, and that's kind of where I'm at with personally with Caleb Williams. Personally, because he has so much pressure. He's touted to be the next Patrick Mahomes, and being the two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's already being put up there now,
right,
ahead of Josh Allen, ahead of just behind Patrick Mahomes, and being put in that elite level area of quarterbacks. And I truly think that if he's not that, then you kind of got to almost consider him a bust, because that's what he's being touted as. I truly think he should have been drafted in the third or fourth round. To be honest, just because of just to kind of set him up, because you can do that all you want, but because you're setting him up almost to fail. Had the Bears been able to take him in the third or fourth round, I think he's got less pressure on him, because he's basically they put an amazing team around him. They put Keenan Allen around him, Swift around him,
DJ
Adunze Moore, and the list kind of goes on, and they upgraded their line and stuff like that. But if he goes in there and he doesn't have a good year, specifically with that team, Keenan Allen's probably going to leave, because he's only on the 1 year deal. Yes, he's going to be able to grow with Rome Odunze, but if he's not Patrick Mahomes out of the gate, what is that going to do to his mental state? Like that almost reminds me of, I don't want to say like a JP Lossman type situation now that you brought him up, but had JP Lossman not gotten the hit, not been that super cocky kid coming in, and I still think that was a purposeful hit by Troy Vincent on him in training camp that broke his leg.
Yeah, so Caleb Williams.
That was a lot. That was a lot to process.
I think Caleb Williams was definitely a first-round prospect. I'm a Notre Dame fan, though, so I saw some of his worst games. I saw where he did have some struggles. Didn't look like, this can't-miss prospect at times. But I certainly saw high first-round talent in his evaluation. But there's certainly pressure that comes with that. To be the savior for a franchise that really hasn't had a great quarterback in many, many years. Who is their best quarterback of the last? Jay Cutler, probably, of the last 20 years. I mean,
if you're going on wins and everything like that, you could probably go back to Rex Grossman. Not that he was a great quarterback,
right?
But he
was good, and
Super Bowl.
He was the game manager that got to the Super Bowl. Every team wants the next Mahomes, the next Josh Allen. And Williams has everything in his favor to be a guy of that caliber in terms of, like you said, they have set him up for success with the weapons that they gave him. I don't think Justin Fields was ever going to be that guy, but they set him up so poorly that it probably ruined his career. I see him in Pittsburgh. I saw him at the joint practice. The legs, once he gets out of pocket and he runs, he's a dangerous guy, but
oh, absolutely.
Some of the throws were not great, and you didn't see the development there. And, you wonder how much of the lack of protection, the lack of the weapons that he had there factored into that, where, some of his best weapons were Allen Robinson. And Allen Robinson was just, I believe, cut by the Giants this past year. And, gosh, I'm forgetting the guy's name. He had a good rapport with him his rookie year, and
he went to Atlanta. Darnell Mooney.
Not Andy Levitri.
Dropping everything last year. There were these
guy got car keyed.
Yeah. So, I think Caleb Williams, though, I understand the pressure that he faces. I think that division is there to be taken. I think Green Bay is a very good team. I think Minnesota's a little ways away. I think that's like a 2-team race if Williams is as good as the Bears believe he is going to be.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I mean, he has all the talent in the world. He really does have the talent to be up there with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, everything like that. But I said this with Vic a couple weeks ago when we talked to him, is there's two things that are immeasurable. Is
getting Vic Carucci on your podcast and Ryan Talbot within 2 weeks.
Is heart and your mental capacity for it. Like we saw it on national TV, his ability or inability to I don't want to say correctly, but almost take a loss. Like he had to go up in the stands and get consoled by his mother rather than go on the field and shake hands, kiss babies, whatever you want to call it. And really, I really think that's part of it that comes down to it is, yes, when he goes through it, is he going to be able to, when they lose a game 40-7, he didn't play well, is he going to go cry in the locker room or and turn it into Ryan Leaf, or is he going to stand there and on the field and exchange the jerseys and do what guys do?
They pay for those, by the way. Comes out of Game Check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Doyle, let me get one. Like, you got $275. I'm like, you do. So, Ryan, as we're talking right now, this is kind of fast and loose and stuff like that. And as we travel through different mediums, Twitter, Syracuse.com, the podcast, can you play with your objectivity in your fandom? Or do you have to maintain?
So,
and how hard is that to maintain?
Because you're a fan. That is clear.
Well, not anymore.
Yeah.
No, honestly,
I'm generally curious.
Once, I would say that during like the Bleacher Report days, early on, I was still definitely wearing that fan hat. I was still, because I wasn't in the locker room. I wasn't attending the practices, the games, in the media, in the press box, and things like that. And over time, once it becomes a job, which it is, you lose that. And, that's not to say that someday, whenever I call it a career covering the Bills or whatever it is, that I won't become a fan again, because I would love to see the Bills win the Super Bowl.
Vic said the same thing.
Yeah, I would love to
that
see
was.
I mean, what are you gonna do if you're still working and the Bills 2026, make the Super Bowl and actually win the Super Bowl? Are you going to, let that come into your heart a little bit, or are you just going to be like, well, we gotta move on to next year?
Actually, I got a better one. We go to the Super Bowl. You get a media pat. I'm Super Bowl. Yeah, I know that's that. And the Bills are in it. Mm-hmm. Are you going to go as a job, or are you going to watch with friends, family, people you've suffered with for 30 years?
No, I would go and cover it if I had the opportunity to. I mean, that's definitely one.
The main thing's the main thing.
It's the main thing's the main thing. I think that's a once in a lifetime experience, whether it's the Bills or even other teams. But in terms of the previous question, like would it hit my heart if the Bills won the Super Bowl? Yeah, because my mom and dad are diehard Bills fans. My brother, my grandparents, no longer with us. Everyone in my family growing up, diehard Bills fans. We'd have these parties during the playoffs sometimes,
the
and
ambrosia salad.
Yeah. I wasn't at the comeback game. I feel like there's like 100,000 fans that claim they're at that comeback game against.
I think Steve Tasker says 290.
Okay, 290. I was not one.
He's met them all.
I believe Matt was actually, Perino was at that, but I wasn't.
I truly was too. I have the ticket stub in my mother's attic. So
that's pretty cool.
No, he doesn't.
I but back then, the game was blacked out locally, and which is so wild to think about.
We talked about it before. Fucking Russell Salvatore.
Right. But
how many times do you have to step in?
Can you imagine that, a playoff game being blacked out? It would never happen these days, ever. So the game's blacked out locally. My Aunt Debbie has a satellite dish the size of a swimming pool back then. One of those that picks up everything.
I remember those. Yeah.
Yep. So we went to her house. We picked it up. They're getting stomped. It's halftime. My mom's like, "Let's go home. It's over." They're not, whatever. We talked her into staying, and we got to witness the greatest comeback in my opinion, I know a few years ago in terms of the points, the Vikings against the Colts, or it was against the Colts. I feel it was
Exactly. It's not the same. You don't know who they played. You don't know who they
Whoever
played.
it wasn't the same. But it was just such a cool moment to watch that all unfold and see. I think partially the Oilers probably took their foot off the gas pedal a little bit, thinking that they could run out the clock, and the Bills, everything worked in their favor. There was a one touchdown where I believe Beebe had actually run out of bounds, but the ref missed it.
Yep.
And he
chill.
Can't go back
wide
and
open
change
down.
it.
We had Teddy Cottrell on.
They can't overturn it now, but
man, we had Teddy
cool.
Cottrell on for he walked us through the real Music City Miracle and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And he was it's on our feed. Man, it is tough. And maybe I'll segue into that last question before I scorch my face off with these things. But Teddy Cottrell came in and Bud Carpenter said, you're down.
You got
DB.
nobody.
You got nobody. They played the entire third and fourth quarter. Teddy says it so in a Teddy Cottrell way. I saw him at the Iliota Apollo golf outing, and I kind of nudged Matt. I'm like, wait for this. He's like, burn it! I'm like, hello, Ted. But he's like, they played it all in base defense. And Sam Cowart looked at Ted. And
Sam Rogers.
Sam Rogers looked at Ted, points his finger at him. He goes, call your defense. We know it. You're on a heater. And I was like, I got cut after 3 days from the Chargers, but I feel like I can still play right now. And then I was just like, I am not Sam Cowart or anybody on that Music City Miracle. But he was talking about crying their eyes out and just.
Yeah, between that and how awesome it was to coach Bruce Smith.
Oh,
those are a couple of the best stories that we have.
He was just like Bruce.
Bruce is like a son.
But you got to earn his trust. Very, just trusting and stuff like that. So, we'll get a little intimate before, the wings. So why don't you give us some advice? We feel like we got some good moments and stuff like that. We just put out a Gronk, the Vic Carucci Gronk one.
Yeah.
We loved it. It's an 8th grade Gronk story. And it's just,
He told Vic that you're gonna eventually, or you're gonna one day write a story about me.
And Vic's like, what, a book report, And then they go in the Buffalo Hall of Fame too. We got Aaron Williams to speak on record for the first time about he's never heard from Jarvis
Landry hit.
Yeah,
first time ever on record with us. And it's just these are things we care about. How do you translate that? These are robust things. These are not who's dating who and who's all the stuff. How do you translate and make it palpable, but also these are deep things that's if you care and you're deeply ingratiated in the community and these players, maybe you should listen. And we're not being high in money, but we're struggling with that. How would you give us any advice?
Well, I have watched some of your former shows, the clips on YouTube. I've listened. You guys do great work. It's making it digestible is one thing for this fan base because there's so many different podcasts out there. It's the same thing that Matt and I go through too. We're just like, what can we do? What angles do we take? But you guys are getting these stories, these moments, and clipping them, sharing them, promoting them. That's a great way of doing it. You guys are all over different social media platforms.
We certainly feel supported. Just with you. This is Matt and I were so excited.
Yeah. Super excited since Wednesday. It's been awesome, and just to have you say that you've watched some of our clips.
Yeah.
It goes back to the community.
Even if it's just since Wednesday, since we had you come on.
No, but it was before that. It's been before that. It truly has.
What, Tuesday? But it goes back to the community thing.
Yeah.
This is sometimes it's tough getting. One of the reasons we kind of started this, not to get preachy, is there are some people that, oh my God, he replied and stuff like that. You've never carried that with you. You want everybody to be as engaging and being as knowledgeable. And I think you're bang on our blueprint. And I hope other people are following because there's no way I'm screaming and shouting on a Friday night, about to get my face ripped off. Ron, thanks, man.
We definitely appreciate it. And real quickly before we do
this
get
is not going to be quick.
Before we do get to the Wings, just give us a little bit of a outlook preview of what you see from the Bills this year.
Give us your 30-second elevator pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're going to see a very exciting
this.
offense. So first and foremost, I know there's a lot of people that don't believe in this wide receiver room. I feel like the Bills went into this offseason, they picked and chose who they felt fit into this Joe Brady offense. And starts with Curtis Samuel, bring in a guy that already knows the system, knows the scheme. Best season of his career comes under Joe Brady. You have Khalil Shakir, who went from, as a rookie, a guy. And there's nothing wrong with it. You were a fifth-round pick. There were some people that said you were a day two guy. But he goes up by about 450 yards from year one to year two. And in crunch time in games last season, Allen was looking at him just as much as he was Kincaid and Stephon Diggs. And that tells you how much he trusted him. And he knew he would come up with the ball. He would get open against zone, find ways to get open against man. The working with Eric Mould's part. I met Moulds last year in Washington when we did a live Shout podcast.
Still jacked.
Yeah, huge. It was him, Lee Evans, Aaron Williams, and Eric Wood. We did a.
How much do you love A-Will?
Oh, great dude, great guy.
A-Will. If you're listening, A-Will, because come on with it. He's going to do some tailgate shows for us.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's the man.
I
do a bocce tournament every year with Harrison Phillips. Every year, Harrison's my homie. I cried it out when it's on record.
One of the best pictures, though, if you go look on Do Champions Facebook, is our header, and my wife took the picture, and Aaron Williams. Literally, I'm talking to, I think it was Alec Anderson, and Aaron Williams just turns and looks at the camera.
This is my network
just
now.
like, and then on top of that, probably 20 minutes later, we have Harrison Phillips on and just talking about the season, stuff like that. And I'm starting to ask him a question, and Aaron Williams comes over, grabs the headset off my head, and puts it on and goes, "This is my network now."
No, that wasn't a joke.
That's amazing.
But no, and that's definitely great. I've kind of felt the same way about the wide receiver room. Is that I wasn't very high on Keon Coleman personally. I was more high. I was higher on Xavier Legette.
No.
You could probably go watch the draft show and see that. But so I was a little upset, a little disappointed when they traded down and then traded down again out of the first round, and then Carolina took Xavier Legette.
He's going to write this in his will, Ryan.
But I truly do believe in this wide receiver room in the way that Brandon Beane has put it together, because it truly comes down to getting the ball out of Josh's hands. We don't want him to
cover every blade of grass.
Yeah. We want him to get the ball out of his hands as quick as possible and get it into playmakers' hands before anything could go wrong, before the transistors in Josh's head say run the ball, and then he gets
I don't know. I think that's one of the reasons that Shakir was good. Shakir knew that on some of those condensed cover too high looks and stuff like that, he doesn't need to break it off. He doesn't need to hit his top speed in the first 2.8 seconds of the play.
Right.
Because he knows he's the third read. He really found some synergy in knowing when the third read comes, and that's when you make your break. And I think that's kind of that tandem of what made
Well, and here's another piece of analytics for you. On that side of the ball is Khalil Shakir. And I know it was a small sample size, actually is almost 1 point fully higher EPA than with only him on the field and not Diggs.
Yeah.
So literally, you're sitting there. I think he was 0.4 with Diggs on the field. He was 1.4 with Diggs off the field. I know it was something like 17 plays or something like that, but.
Can one of you guys explain what EPA? I mean, EPA is after. I don't want to embarrass myself right now, but I'm just kidding. So, all right.
So let's.
Ryan, you game?
I'm game.
Let's have some fun here.
Yep.
All right.
So we got our wings on this side.
All right.
So you got the wheel going.
Right. Why don't you tell them about my little faux pas? With my ordering. First of all, what is your joint? I hate this question. What is your joint down there? Because you have a robust selection. You got a Chili's, I think.
No Chili's. No Chili's.
I'm messing with you. I've never been to Olean. I probably have.
So, in terms of wings, it's hard to find good ones. The place that we ordered from for tonight, it's called the Broken Wing. Pretty good nearby. There's actually a bar I consider more of like a dive bar called Third Base. Those probably are the best wings.
Ooh, that was in the nomination.
So what's that?
That was nominated, and then they asked me, would you like a packaged, or would you like the delivery guy just to hand it to you in the palm of his hand?
Okay.
Dive bars,
So Third Base is good too, but theirs is more of
very
like
well reviewed.
A specialty wing, the Darrow wing, which isn't overly hot.
I saw that.
So yeah, and I cannot think of everything that's in it now, but really good wings there. So we were talking about this hot wing challenge, and I'm like, yeah, I'll do hot. Don't know about the suicide wings, and they show up with the bag tonight, and I look and it says 10 suicide wings. I'm like, awesome, cool.
Yeah.
I thought they said
Student Brady, whatever you want to call him at this point.
I have a real life. I mean, you're so open about it, but like, I guess right now
he has a difficulty of reading comprehension. He'll read it, but then
talking over people,
not comprehend things.
It's fine. It's good. I'm still happy to do it.
Absolutely. So let's kind of get this going here. You got the wings. It's kind of going to be like the hot ones.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna take a bite out of the wing and then ask some questions. And it's more trivia than anything else.
No, it's not. No, this is gonna be kind of cool. Let me bring it up here.
So real quick, while he's bringing that up, we know you guys are affiliated with Wing Nuts for the Shout Podcast, doing the live.
Is that truly the one? Is that truly the one?
I love them. When we're in Buffalo, we're not doing the live shows. We go there. We get our wings there.
I got to get you to DePaulo's. There's the Brady Wings at DePaulo's.
Yep.
Okay.
I was gonna
Have
bring
you
that
been to
up.
Ilios?
Not for their wings.
Oh man, that is the spot.
Okay.
So definitely, real quickly though. We're all going to be, all of Do Champions is going to be there on, I think it's the 22nd.
You got Ewood.
Ewood is probably going to be there and everything like that. We invite both you and Matt Perino down to kind of, it's before the Jacksonville game.
Who's
for the
more
Monday night game.
persnickety about their wings? You or Matt?
Definitely Matt.
Really?
Like in terms of what he likes and things like that. Yeah, I think that's just about anything. I'm not overly picky, and he likes what he likes, and I respect that.
So other than Wing Nuts then, okay, because we're going to take them, and you've never eaten at DePaulo's, so we're going to take them.
We're going to get copyrighted by Eric Wood. This is like his shtick.
Yeah. We're going to take that completely
Eric's
out
like,
of this.
have you hit a hole in one yet? I did it at Valhalla. What wings do you like?
What is your favorite wing place that's not either Wing Nuts, DePaulo's? Since they're a sponsor of ours, so we don't like to, we like to promote them, but but not so much saying, they have the best wings in Buffalo or anything like that.
Yeah. So one that I'm really high on that someone suggested to me a few years ago is Kelly's Corner, which I had never tried before. Yeah. I was a huge fan of those, and I know that the easy answer is Bar-Bill, but Bar-Bill does have a very good chicken wing. Although I'm a bigger fan of their beef on whack. There, so
yeah. I mean, can I really interrupt you really quickly?
You're gonna do it anyway.
As far as Bar-Bill goes, during COVID, just after, before, they had some of the best wings. I would probably put them top 3. Ever since they've changed like the cook or whoever does it or whatever, they just have been gummy, and they've just not been like up
the East Aurora location.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Okay, so I haven't been there as much in the last few years, but with the few times that we've gone, we've gotten some pretty good wings. But you're not the first person to tell me that either, though. So it sounds like it's become more hit and miss, which that was never the way it was. You're right. A few years.
I'm still a big fan of 911. They're probably my top wing. That's not a
Sean McDermott.
that's not a specialty wing.
Right.
Other than, like I said, can't mention DePaulo's. Can't mention. But I'll tell you, DePaulo's has some of the best wings in Buffalo. They have the best Italian food in Buffalo.
Best people.
Best people. Like literally, I was sitting there the one night, and I see Vic Carucci come in. I see Eric Wood
Anderson.
Morton Anderson was there. I mean, it was just,
Jim Ross.
DDP. Like it's
and then
just,
little old like Reed Ferguson comes in, and he's just like, "Hey man," it's like, okay.
So, but no, I mean, truly. So anybody else, Kelly's Corner, check them out. 9/11, check them out. Obviously, check out Wingnuts with on any of the nights that they do the Shout podcast. Elliot Apollo's definitely check them out for more than just the wings, but absolutely. So let's get this started. We have the wheel spinning
which is
wheel
my brain.
Wheel of Fortune up there. So you can see it right behind Brady's head there. So.
All right, how you guys gonna do it? Are you guys doing rock paper scissors? Are you guys gonna?
So you're a part of this as well. So
I know if you guys get one wrong, I'm gonna eat. I do not handle spice. Let me get those pigs. Let me get those little piggies.
So first and foremost, where did you order ours from?
I don't know, Dante's Inferno, Pat's Pizzeria, man, right down the street, Angola, New York. So I think the guest goes first for the spin.
Yes, absolutely. Guest goes first for the spin.
Sure.
All right, man. You tell me when. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. There's 4 categories. They're going to get cool. All right, man.
All right.
Hang on. Oh, that one didn't come. The first question. It's going to be called Rick or Trick Generette. I'm going to give you 3 quotes.
Okay.
You tell me which one's made up. Okay?
All right.
Rick or Trick Generette. Okay? And it's going to come on your screen right now. A, man, they stink. B, cheaper than a Swiss Chalet rotisserie. Or C, that's the first time I've ever quoted the Bible. A, man, they stink. B, cheaper than a Swiss Chalet rotisserie. Or C, that's the first time I've ever quoted the Bible. Which one is made up, Mr. Ryan Talbot?
I feel like it's B or C. I feel like I heard him say the man. So watch, that's probably the one that is wrong. I'll go with the Bible one.
He actually says that in his final address, flesh is flesh,
Okay.
and all that, and he says, man, that's the first time I've quoted the Bible.
All right.
Let's go in, man.
All right. I'm going with the biggest one here. That's
There you go. There you go.
So was it the Swiss Chalet or?
Yeah, that's completely made up. Come on, that they had the I'm just distracting myself, right? 1, 2, 3. No. I'm not. No, this isn't for no, dude. All right, let's keep going. Where's that milk? No, I'm not. This isn't performative. I do not handle spice well. I went to Diggs's chef place, like Chef Darian Bryan. Oh my god, that jerk place.
Yeah.
Man, the Caesar salad dressing was too much for me. Oh, Jamaican jerk.
So the one thing
it's right here.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is we went out to Duff's for my birthday.
No, we gotta go.
Hold on. Hold on real quickly.
All right, man.
We went out to Duff's for my birthday, and on their menu, it specifically says, our hot wings are hotter than hot. I got the hot wings, and their hot wings are like suicide, and they're so good. But
all right, Matt.
Yep, go ahead.
All right, no, it's better now. Spin the wheel. We're only going to do this 3 times. This was such a brilliant segment, but I'm out. It's going to be Bills Dine Out. And your question, Mr. Matt Diegert, where did Jim Kelly propose to his wife Jill? What restaurant in Western New York?
Elliot Apollo.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's Elliot Apollo's. Good for you. Just eat the wing.
I'm
dude.
gonna eat the wing anyways.
That's not
Hold
fair.
on.
Oh man. All right, Rye. We'll do this one more time.
Ooh.
And this category is called. Oh, I got it. They suck. No, like they're flavorful, but it's hell. Oh man, you're so tough, dude. What do you think?
I'm a psycho, but that's okay.
My undercarriage is sweating.
My lips are tingling for sure. For sure.
Okay. Right. This is called Payless Shoes Linebackers. You have to name 2. You're familiar with Payless Shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Name me 2. Name me 2 brands carried once again, Payless shoes and linebackers. 2 shoe brands carried at Payless, and Payless linebackers, 2 numbers worn by AJ Klein. 2 brands carried by Payless, and 2 numbers worn by AJ Klein. Payless shoes and linebackers. I'm really happy about my cleverness on that. My tongue sucks.
Payless shoes. Like, I don't remember the last time I was in a Payless. Do they even still have Payless shoes still?
Yes.
Do you remember the foot measurer?
Oh yeah, the metal thing that you slip your foot
my mom thought she was such a savant when she did the thumb thing back to school, like to make sure my toe wasn't too far.
I remember
I'm
the
having
shoe
a problem.
horns.
I'm having a problem. So 2 brands and 2 numbers. Why don't you start with the numbers? I mean, dealer's choice.
The numbers were in the 50s. We're talking Bills, correct?
Very good.
Correct. Yes.
52 was last year. And then I think he wore 54.
That is correct.
Okay.
Correct. Now, give me
Payless.
2 brands. Should we give him a hint?
Go ahead.
1 was a prominent NBA center. 2 actually that had their brands there.
Did Shaq have his there?
Ooh. That's 1. 1 more.
And another center had his shoes there.
Jonas?
I don't know who it is. No.
I don't know who I am right now. Dude,
What era are we talking about with this? Like the 90s?
he was in NBA Jam.
I don't remember like
I'm struggling.
I'm trying to.
You know who it is?
Is it DW?
Dominique Wilkins?
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
No, that
John
I
Kemp,
truly
no,
don't know.
Kemp had his own shoe with Reebok because I had those.
Did you? I put on some 97 Barkley Airs, with the big air on the side.
Yeah.
Not super. Oh.
Well, we clearly missed the second one. But...
Akeem Elijah.
Oh, I said it. I said it.
You
Was
said
it?
it?
He did. He did.
I
say
did.
it.
I don't remember
And
him
that's
having
the
his
show.
He had his own shoe, like his own brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he definitely did.
All right. This is how we always end the show, right? Man, thanks so much, man. This was kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I was a
This
little
was
nervous,
fantastic.
man. So this is how we always do it. Let's pick a player, and we're objective, but this is all well wishes. Pick a player, wish him health and safety, and what you want to see out of him. Maddie, we'll go to you.
So I've chosen Von Miller. I've chosen
Okay.
Kyer Elam. So I'm trying to think of somebody else. I'm actually going to go right to number 17 because
right.
he is truly
Let's hear
the
it.
one that we need to, make sure Josh Allen is Josh Allen this year. Keep your mind right. Keep everything on the field. The biggest thing that you can do for the Bills is go forward and make sure you're using all your weapons and good luck on the year.
Ryan, if it's okay with you, I'll go next.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going Mr. RVD, Ryan Vandermark. Hey, man, you showed us last year when Deion had the hand, you came in and you played next to flawless football. If your number gets called again, make sure the spirits are high, the nose is in the playbook, and, that the attitude is just synergistic with everything we're trying to accomplish this year. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah, in terms of a player that really impressed me this summer, Jamarcus Ingram stands out to me. This was a guy, again, a UB guy, a guy that was a practice squad player that, when elevated, performed well when called upon the Miami game a few years ago when everyone was going down with injuries. Wishing him well just because of the growth I've seen in him as a player. It's not easy to make it in this league after a few years on the practice squad, and he really showed me that if the Bills do lose one of their outside corners, that he or Kyer Elam could step in and take over that job.
Absolutely.
Man, that was eloquent.
Yeah, thank you again. Thank you, Ryan. We definitely appreciate it. I mean, if you hit the yellow for me, we need it one time.
First of all, don't talk. Okay.
I can't reach it.
Thanks so much, Ryan.
Ryan,
that's the
Thank
show.
you.
Ryan, thank you so much for being on here. We definitely appreciate it. Good luck on the year. Good luck with you and Matt.
Shout.
With the Shout podcast and everything else. We definitely appreciate you coming on. And again,
Hey, Matt, Ryan, good to be seen, buddy.
good to be seen.
Thanks, guys.
Come on, come on.